Okay, Chuck Wilson, New Hope Community Church, connecting the dots once again. I'm going to jump on another one right here. So much is going on, and I'm going to read something that really is fulfilling what I've been talking about with Israel, the world turning on Israel, with the United States just, losing its influence and even fracturing and somehow disappearing from prophetic history. I'm going to just read something that just has come out because of the Iran war. Now, listen, I'm not saying I agree with everything, but this is what the way the world sees Israel and the United States today. I think this is very eye-opening. This is from the South China Morning Post. But even though it's from China, I think we'll see that many Europeans and even a lot of Americans have been brainwashed into believing this because it's all part of prophetic fulfillment. Listen to this, the twilight of U.S. hegemony. There's a way that the British say it and the way that Americans say it, but I'm going to use the American way. Hegemony and Israeli expansionism. Hegemony, whereas we are controlling things. The world, really, we're kind of like controlling things. And also Israeli expansionism. That's taking the land that God promised them. All right? But listen to what this person says. Alex Lowe, and this is very eye-opening. The war in Iran is speeding the world toward a multipolar system. The whole world has come to oppose the Iran war, including most Americans. Probably half at least, just as Israel took part in the 1956 Suez Crisis, which signaled the last hurrah of European imperialism. It is now jointly prosecuting a pointless but destructive war that is likely to spell the twilight of American hegemony. Now, in the 1956, what happens? Israel, in the middle of this whole thing with the Suez Crisis, and the United Kingdom and France both got mud on their face. That marked their fast decline, losing power. The United States and Russia worked out a deal with Israel in the middle of it, and that's when the United States really ascended even higher. And in the Soviet Union for a while, then they, of course, disintegrated temporarily. They're back again as Russia. But there's just showing how that caused especially the United Kingdom to no longer be that world power. They just kind of been second-class superpower. They're not even a power. Second-class citizens, right? This is saying the same thing is happening today. Israel has pulled us into a conflict that it's going to result in the United States losing its world standing, and it's the beginning of us just kind of becoming one of the boys. And there may be a lot of truth to this, but listen to this. This time, though, the Jewish state won't get away so easily. From the Palestinian territories to Iran and Lebanon, it can no longer hide its Zionist expansionism. Oh, love it. That threatens the entire region. The usually spineless European allies of the United States have no choice but to deny the U.S. Israeli aggressors access to their airspace and military bases. As German defense minister has said, this is not our war. Domestic polls show that the majority of Americans oppose the war, not just because they're paying $4 a gallon for gas, but also because many realize, having suffered on too many similar wars, that such conflicts only benefit the military security state and its billionaire backers to the detriment of ordinary Americans. So Americans don't support it anymore. And I think this is true. The majority don't support this. We're seeing the United States fractured in a God's judgment. Let's see. However oppressive the regime in Tehran is, it's clear that the U.S.-Israel axis is the real threat to world peace and not just the global economy. So the real problem is the United States and Israel, and that's the threat to the world peace and the world economy. And this is what has happened because of this war. It's prophetic. It's all being set up. The hook in the nose, that we see in Ezekiel 38 with Russia and their allies. Almost like one has been placed in our nose here, pulled into to Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, and all that's happening. The bottom line, listen, whether we agree with it or not, I'm not trying to judge what happened. I'm simply saying the result, the prophetic result, is the world has turned on Israel even more, and also turned on the United States. We are now the two bad guys in the world, which explains a lot prophetically. Perhaps the only silver lining is that Donald Trump has no stamina Throughout his career, he has loved a quick buck, and as a president, a quick victory. Unfortunately for him, Iran is not Venezuela. Even now, he seems to realize he messed up big time. As a result, he has been reportedly musing to senior staff at the White House he may be willing to end the war without first reopening the Strait of Hormuz. There's some interesting truth into this. Even though this person is Chinese and against us, there's a lot of prophetic truth to this. He has even invited Gulf states and NATO allies whose defense treaty he now threatens to end. Going to end NATO, that's happening, to try to reopen the strait because, as he says, it's really their problem. But let's call the spade a spade. Israel's takeover of the strait, if it can last beyond a possible ceasefire, will be a decisive victory over the U.S. and Israel. The two aggressors may have given Iran a stranglehold on major route of global energy supply, and yes, they both deserve the blame. This is amazing what is happening here. Oh, the Europeans will be much better off seeking reapproachment over Iran. To the dismay of the rest of the world, many have been complicit in Israel's alleged genocide in Gaza. Lie. And imperialism in the West Bank. Lie. That's Judea, Samaria, by the way. And southern Lebanon. They're just really hammering away at Israel and the United States. And they're saying here that the Trump regime has no good options. The best they could probably do is declare victory and walk away. The U.S. may never recover from this. The entire world knows exactly what's going on, and it's just disintegrating on them. It's time that the Europeans learned that Washington cannot be relied on. Thankfully, the world is moving toward a multipolar system, and the Iran war is just speeding up the process. This is true, although we don't agree with their motive here and this in China and blah, blah, blah. But I'm talking prophetic results is exactly what is happening. The United States is lost its standing. The economy and the oil, and people are now talking openly about a one world economy without the dollar, and when that happens, we are in big trouble. $39 trillion debt will have to be repaid, which is impossible. We're going to be struggling. NATO, Trump is saying we're pulling out of NATO, and he's already closing bases, and NATO says, good, we don't want you anymore either. And this all has to happen because NATO is going to be the revived Roman Empire, and they're going to be in control in the end. The United States is not going to be. The revived Roman Empire in the Bible is going to be calling the shots with the Antichrist heading them up, and Israel will be the bad guy. This is all moving very, very quickly. It's all being fulfilled. Pay attention. Stop paying attention to the United States and the war and are we going to win? It's not important. All that's important is prophetically what is going on in the world. Prophetically, what is God doing? What is God doing? And how quickly this is moving is bringing us very quickly to the second coming of Jesus Christ. God bless.